Westminster, 10th of December, 1881. To the promoters of the Rhondda and Swansea Bay Railway. Gentlemen, in accordance with instructions given at the last meeting of the committee, we now beg to lay before you an ordnance map with the several railway schemes for obtaining access to the Rhondda Valley which have been deposited, marked upon it in distinctive colours. Great Western Route. The route, marked blue, is that of the Great Western Railway Company. The new railways proposed to be constructed at Pyle, Hendraforgan and at Tony Rafale to a junction with the Taff Vale at Porth. The agreeable length of the new line being 5 miles and 5 furlongs, connecting portions of the Great Western, Llinvi and Ely Valley Railways, and thus forming a route. Access to the Rhondda is obtained not in the manner the Great Western Chairman informed your deputation, but by a tunnel of 3,272 yards. This tunnel is laid out on a uniform gradient of 1 in 80 against the load, and the total length of that gradient against the load in the direction of Swansea is 3 3/4 miles, and toward Cardiff 2 1/4 miles. Ferry for Britton Ferry and the Neath Docks and Towns. A junction with the Swansea and Neath Railway at Britton Ferry Road Station. Access to Aberavon and Port Talbot is obtained by the construction of a short branch 6 furlongs in length from the main line at Pontrydyffryn to the Carmarthen Railway, and the utilisation of the existing railway for 3.5 miles to Aberavon and Port Talbot. The plans also include the acquisition of a piece of land for station purposes adjoining the town and works at Aberavon. The new railways proposed, including the short junction and branches referred to, will be 20 1/4 miles and, with the Carmarthen Railway, will comprise an aggregate of 23 3/4 miles of working and earning railway. The route to Swansea is from Treherbert via Simmer, the left side of the River Avon to Pontrydyffryn, then on the right of the valley through Carmarthen Forks via Baglan by a tunnel 1,530 yards long to Britton Ferry. Thence across the river, Neath near the seaside of Britton Ferry Docks, and along Cremlin Burrows to Swansea, being 21.5 miles from Pentre to Swansea, which is the same distance as from Pentre to Cardiff by the existing Taff Vale route. The railway will pass through and serve the populated district of Carmarthen and several manufactories in active operation. It will also open out the new mineral field lying between Simmer and Pontrydyffryn, which currently lacks accessible railway accommodations. The principal works include the tunnel from the Rhondda, which is 3,311 yards long on a very easy gradient against the load, and the crossing of the Neath River by a low-level opening bridge. 2 spans of this bridge will be 60 feet each, made to open, and 12 feet above high water spring tides. The practical summit of this route will be at the east end of the RhonddaTunnel, 1.5 miles from Treherbert, and will be reached from there by a short gradient of 1 in 55. At this point, the traffic will be marshalled with proper sidings provided for the purpose, and ordinary trains can be taken from there through the tunnel directly to Swansea Docks. The railway gradients with the loads will be 1 in 50, 1 in 78 and 1 in 60. The 1 in 50 and the 1 in 60 gradients will only extend for 2 miles and 1 3/4 miles respectively. In fact, the gradients pretty much follow the natural rise of the valleys up from the sea. The carrying power of this line is 44 loaded trucks or 440 tons of coal per each locomotive, as against 230 tons in the case of the Great Western Route. Glencorrog, Rhondda and Swansea Junction Route. The scheme proposed by a new company under this name, not by the South Wales Mineral Company, and was supposed to commence at Treherbert, about the same place as the Rhondda and Swansea Bay line, and rises by a gradient of 1 in 50 to a tunnel 3,640 yards long, partly on an easy gradient against the load and partly within the load. In Glencorrog, the present South Wales Mineral Railway is utilised for 7.5 miles to Tony Rafale. A tunnel 600 yards long is then proposed under that railway, and a deviation 4 miles 3 furlongs in length is laid out to alleviate the use of the present rope incline, similar to the one deposited last year, and terminating by the junction with the Great Western at the point between Britton Ferry and Neath. The deviation line will be for 3 1/8 of a mile on the gradient of 1 in 44.5 with the load. There is also a branch from this line at the Eagles Bush to the Vale of Neath Railway at Cadoxton, 1 mile and 7 furlongs long, to which 1 mile and 5 furlongs is on a gradient of 1 in 42 with the load. Another branch is proposed from the incline deviation line from the Britton Ferry across the River Neath at Giant's Grave to Swansea East Dock Railway at St Thomas's S, near the point proposed for the junction therewith of the Rhondda and Swansea Bay Railway. The principal works are the Glencorrigg Tunnel, 3,640 yards long, but as this tunnel is shown to commence outlings 90 feet deep, it is necessary to make it 3,781 yards in length to construct it on fairly equal terms with the other tunnel referred to. Also, to do so, we have to accept a cutting close to the east tunnel mouth, 100 feet deep, which should properly have been tunnelled and which would still further lengthen the Glencorrigg Tunnel. The other work of importance is the Neath River Bridge, which is stated to be 183 yards long, having 2 openings with a span of 80 feet each and 20 feet above high water spring tides. The total mileage for new railways to be constructed by this company is 15 miles and 8 chains. The distance by this route from Pentre to Swansea will be 22 5/8 miles, as against 21.5 miles from Pentre to Cardiff via Taff Vale. The carrying power is a full 37 trucks, or 370 tons of coal for one locomotive, against 440 tons in the case of the Rhondda and Swansea Bay Railway, and 230 tons in that of the Great Western route. Generally, where the carrying power of a railway is measured by its capability of returning empties, the latter is taken in this report as the carrying capacity of the line. In the case of the Rhondda and Swansea Bay, the empties can be banked up from Simmer, which is 2 miles with a 1 in 50 gradient, and such a plan would much enhance its carrying capacity. However, in the case of the Great Western route, no banking could be made available because of the long, heavy gradient of 1 in 80 in the tunnel against the load. For the Glencorrigg route, banking to get any benefit must be perfected at 2 places, namely at Britton Ferry for 33 1/8 miles up a 1 in 50 gradient for 5 furlongs. The Abergavenfar and Glencorrigg tunnels, as regards gradients, are both slightly and very easy against the load, in great distinction to the Great Western, and in carrying power are both practically identical, but the former is the shorter by at least 469 yards, a most important consideration. To summarise some of the chief characteristics of the 3 schemes: A, as to distance, in order of the shortest first, Rhondda and Swansea Bay, Pentre to Swansea Bay, 2.5 miles. Second, Glencorrigg, Rhondda and Swansea Junction, 2 1/8 miles. Third, Great Western, 40.5 miles. B, as to carrying power, in order of the greatest first, Rhondda and Swansea Bay, 440 tons per train with 1 engine. Second, Glencorrigg, Rhondda and Swansea, 230 tons per coal train with 1 engine. C, as a new line to be constructed in order of the least length, miles per chain, first Great Western, 5 miles, 4 chains and 7.5 links. Second, Glencorrigg, Rhondda, Swansea, 15 miles, 0 chains and 7.95 links. Third, Rhondda and Swansea Railways, 20 miles, 2 chains and 0.45 links. D, as to magnitude of RhonddaTunnel, in order of these: first, Great Western, 3,272 yards. Second, Rhondda and Swansea Bay, 3,311 yards. Third, Glencorrigg, Rhondda and Swansea, 3,780 yards. The accompanying comparative section of gradients will more clearly show the difference between the Rhondda and Swansea Bay and the Glencorrigg routes.